Now we're live. There we go. Walking into these shots and stuff. Woo!
You know, if you had the extension on that mouse, you wouldn't have to do that.
Why would you do that? Like I didn't say that to you in confidence in private. That wasn't necessary at all. What just a horrible person you are. Do we need to go back to doing these again? I forgot how horrible and evil you are. What's up, internet world? We're back. Two weeks in a row. It's something for us. We aren't consistent.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, kinda consistent in our inconsistency. I don't know.
It's not our fault that we can't do it all the time.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm Michael. Who are you?
Excuse me, I'm Leroy.
And you have indigestion, I guess, or something going on.
Well, I just ate a pizza slice, so I had to eat it quickly because somebody was yelling at me.
I didn't yell at you at all.
He was abusive.
All right, great. Yeah, we're back again. As you guys can see, we got some new digs. We got this huge, giant desk. This thing is big.
It is not that big.
I mean, compared to our other one, it is.
I mean, it's not. Honestly, it's not that big. It's literally 6 feet.
Actually 6 feet and change.
Yeah.
We measured it. We know we are the approved amount of distance away now through social distancing. We've said it before in a couple of videos in the past. Our boss got mad at us, rightfully so, because we were not social distancing.
It wasn't rightfully so.
It was rightfully so. So he tasked us with finding another way to get this done. So we did, and here we are. We found a desk.
I liked it better my way.
Whatever. Such the rubber you are. But yeah, we'll be back to doing more videos now because we have the space between us, so that's really cool.
Yep.
What are we talking about today on Press Play?
First, you got to find your joy, man.
I thought we usually did it at the end.
No, we do that at the beginning.
I don't even know how we do this thing anymore. It's been so long since
I
we
know.
did it.
It's 'cause you're terrible.
My joy is you not being around me. That's my joy.
Tamara, you're right. We do need taller chairs, but we stole these out of the conference room. So
Hey man, let me tell you what we need. We need a lot of stuff, okay? We're still trying to figure out how we do stuff.
we don't even have it open yet. We just have to hit the mouse over there.
Yeah.
But like I told Michael, he should have got the extension before.
You
we
didn't
did
tell
this.
me that.
I did.
You didn't do that at all. I did that.
Prove it.
I mean, you can't prove what you said.
I did. I just said it on camera.
That's not real.
It's in perpetuity.
That doesn't matter.
It's on the internet. The internet's never wrong.
What got me through the week?
Yeah.
I went back and finished an Xbox 360 game. It might be on PlayStation as well. I don't know. It was by Clay
It
Entertainment.
probably is.
They're the guys who did, or the company that did. You remember Shank?
Nope.
All right. You remember?
Nope.
Don't Starve?
Nope.
You remember Mark of the Ninja?
Nope.
Okay, well that's a game I played. Mark of the Ninja Remastered. I went back and played that. I never finished it on Xbox 360. I played on Xbox One. Great game.
You don't finish a lot of games. What makes you go back and finish them?
I look at my catalog of unfinished games. I'm like, I'll go back and finish this. So I started that from the beginning. I think I got all the achievements in it, or pretty close to it. I enjoyed it. It was like maybe 13 levels or so. A lot of fun. That's what got me through this week.
Okay.
What about you?
I finally found time, because I'm up at, till 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got time to finish the Clone Wars.
Oh, the new season or whatever?
Yeah, the final season.
Okay.
And I had been holding off because that's been one of my favorite shows. And I didn't want it to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't... You ever see something you're like, I don't know if I can handle, because if they mess this up, if they don't stick the landing, it kind of ruins... A lot of people felt that way about Game of Thrones.
I know somebody who was that way for Red Dead Redemption, the first one. They didn't want to finish the game because, for two reasons. One, it would be over. Then they kind of felt like, why would I go back to it? And also, they were worried the ending wouldn't stick.
Is that somebody who is you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No, I would have said it was me.
Okay.
No.
So yeah, it took me because I watched the first 2 episodes, and I was like, they were okay, but I was like, I was scared they weren't going to stick the landing. I was like, I don't want to binge through it. I didn't want to do that. So I was up with the kid, and I had been watching, and I got through. I did the first 4 because they do them in 4-episode arcs. So I watched the first arc with him. Then I watched the last arc, or the second arc, and then I finally finished the last 4 episodes, and it's been a long time since I watched something that just left me like, what did I just watch? And I can say for me, for loving the Clone Wars and loving Star Wars, they stuck the landing better than I thought they could have.
Okay.
And let me tell you how good the Clone Wars is for me.
Mm-hmm.
The Clone Wars makes up for the prequels.
That's a big thing to say.
I'm not one of the people who's like trashing the prequels. I do think there's a lot of problems with them, but I think that they, I'm now watching episode 3 again, so it's like I'm going back through and watching, and now what I'm probably going to end up doing is going through and watching Solo, Rogue One, and go through the last 6 movies, because that's how good the Clone Wars for me. So if you hadn't seen the Clone Wars, go ahead and watch it. I don't know how you should watch it. Some people say watch it in chronological order. Some people are like, just watch it just the way it is, so you can get the whole feeling of it being out of order. To me, my Ahsoka outside of Vader is my favorite character in Star Wars.
And you're excited about this rumor about Rosario being Ahsoka, if it happens?
No.
Oh, goodness.
Because again, I'm scared. Like, it's that thing where you have in your mind. You like Avatar, the cartoon. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the movie?
I sure did.
How did you feel?
Betrayed.
That's how.
Betrayed.
Now you know that, and I don't want to feel that way. And I'm not saying Rosario's going to do a bad job. I'm scared because Clone Wars came at a time where I was like, Star Wars was and then it's almost like I grew with it. And so it really was, and it was one of those things where I was holding my son, and I was
holding his son, man. I'm never gonna get tired of hearing that phrase.
I cannot wait for him to be of an age where we can watch this together. And that was I was like, man, the ending of that, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but because you already know what's going to happen, it's hard to care about certain things when you know what's going to happen. Clone Wars did that.
Okay.
They pulled off the idea of what the prequels could not do.
Okay.
So.
Most people are loving our new set, and yeah, we will grow and develop this and make it look better and all that stuff. But we appreciate the love and support. That's about us. What are we talking about?
So this week, yesterday we did a.
I didn't point the gun at the people.
I'm not. I'm putting it in the air. Or actually, you can't even see it because the book is in the way. But I was pointing in the air like, choo 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 choo, like celebration.
Yeah, no, you'll be able to see it.
Because you were like, we got a new desk. And you were like, yeah, people love the desk. And I was like, the Stormtroopers like, yeah, we got new stuff.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
So we talked yesterday a little bit about, depends on what you say a little bit, about the Xbox or Microsoft's Play event.
Xbox Game Showcase.
Thank you. And we talked a little bit about it, but it made me think, and I've been thinking about this all week, because there's 2 big things that happened this week, was that and also the San Diego Comic-Con at home. And you are a real big Comic-Con person.
That's my big trip.
That's your big trip. You are an official Comic-Con goer. And I was wondering, what did people get from these 2? I wanted to give an opportunity for the chat to give their take on what they thought about the event, and also I wanted your take on, like, how does it feel not being able to go and then seeing it online?
It is a weird sensation. One of the things you always complain about when you're there and when you're not there is the waiting. Yeah. Whether it's waiting in line to get food or to get an exclusive or to get to a panel. I mean, you wait for everything when you're at Comic-Con for the most part, for San Diego Comic-Con. I kind of miss that. I never thought I would say that before, but I miss waiting, because when you wait in those lines, you meet other people who there's a good chance they could like some of the same stuff you're into. I mean, it makes sense, because if you're in the panel for something, they probably like the same thing.
Like your Comic-Con friend.
Yeah. Or they could be waiting in line for a panel for something that's coming up later in the night. And so maybe they're like, oh, I'm not waiting for this show, I'm waiting for this show. So then you learn about a show you didn't know about. I always bring up the story that I'm a big fan of Supernatural. I didn't know about Supernatural until going to Comic-Con. And it had maybe it was in its 5th or 6th season by that time. And I was in the Hall H line to see Doctor Who that day. It was a Sunday. but Supernatural was beforehand. And the way Comic Con works is if you get into a room, you can stay in there the entire time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, if your panel is at 6 that you want to see, they'll go to the panel at 1 o'clock so they can guarantee that they get in for whatever. So I went there first thing in the morning. That Sunday morning I saw Supernatural. I think I saw Glee. I saw Teen Wolf at the time. You remember Teen Wolf, the MTV show? Mm-hmm. I saw that, whatever. And Glee was fine. I'd watch Glee. I never saw Teen Wolf. Supernatural really got to me because the main actors were there, and they just seemed like really personable people when they were talking.
And you've always said this, that their enthusiasm made you want to see the show.
Yeah. Because they were very excited about their property, which was great. Of course, they are their actors; they can sell it. But they also showed a sizzle reel of the upcoming season. I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then I've been watching Supernatural ever since, and I can't wait for these final 7 episodes of Supernatural to come out, based on me trying to go see Doctor Who. So yeah, I mean, waiting is fun. Probably just meeting new people. San Diego's a nice city. It's like always 70 degrees there. So it always feels great. You know, if you don't know, we live in Columbia. Famously hot. It sucks here,
It's
temperature
always
wise.
sunny in Southern California. It never rains in Southern California. They tell me.
You got any more?
Nah.
Okay. Before we have to pay for that royalties, we can't afford that song, sir. We can't afford right chairs.
First of all, I didn't sing anything.
We can't.
I didn't sing anything. I just said words.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's for me. That's what I miss most about Comic-Con. I thought this year was going to be cool because a thing we talked about before, and we have a video about it. Last year or the year before, whenever I went, and we had like a video showing all the exclusives I picked up.
That was last year.
That was last year?
You went last year,
Okay.
and I think we got the video up this year.
Might be. It could be. I still got Comic-Con videos I never posted yet. But I showed off all the exclusives. They were fun to get.
Yeah.
This year, none of the exclusives really stood out to me as something I wanted to get. And I wonder if that is because...
By design.
But yeah, maybe because they're like, oh, since everybody can get them, maybe we're going to limit what we put out or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, none of the exclusives really stood out to me. Like, you know, I'll always look for a Power Rangers figure or a Ninja Turtles figure. Nothing really was like, I got to get it this year.
I've only been once. I've been to a lot of other cons, but I've only been once. And I really enjoyed San Diego Comic-Con, even though sometimes I get paranoid around too many people. One of the things I wanted to talk about, so the year I went was the year Senator John Lewis, not Senator, Representative John Lewis was there promoting March. And it was, I bring it up because it was so interesting to see him cosplay as himself from the book, holding hands with little kids as they walk through
the convention floor?
The convention floor. There's video of him somewhere on one of our hard drives where I shot him. And because it was one of those things where it was like, there's always something going on. But then every now and then something, like there's like some, it's almost like a wave. It's almost like, you ever watch a shark movie and you see like the fin in the water and you see like crowds kind of moving out of the way, and you see something, and that's pretty much what it was. It was Representative John Lewis, and it made me pick up the book because I was like, he didn't just, you know how some people, they do something and it's almost like they're pandering. They don't really care about what it was that they were doing. He seemed to care to have people interested in his book, interested in the genre and the medium, and taking a part of something that is so, I don't want to say counterculture, but something that's nerdy. Representative Lewis, through the course of his life, has done, I mean, what would be basically killed normal people. I could not have imagined or done what he had done. And it was amazing seeing that side of Comic-Con for something that wasn't like, I remember when we went, Will Smith was there. And supposedly, because that was around the time, Suicide Squad.
Okay.
It was so interesting and amazing to see something that wasn't like Star Wars. You know, it was like, it was history, but that was what was amazing to me, that idea. And there was a lot of other things about Comic-Con, but that one really recently stood out because it was like, there's a place, if you have a fandom, if you have a nerddom, there is something out there for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, to me, what San Diego Comic-Con is to me.
Yeah. Two things, a couple of comments. Tamara Pickens has, she says, but I mean, folks always talk about the Comic-Con flu, so yeah, no bueno during a pandemic. I understand that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely, there's a good reason why there is no Comic-Con. There's Comic-Con at home. We're dealing with the pandemic. We're dealing with coronavirus.
Oh, and nerds don't wash. Some of y'all.
Whenever you go to a con, there's a smell.
Nashicon?
I didn't need to name specific conventions, bro.
I'm just saying, like...
You go to a con, there's probably a smell. Usually the best way they fight that, not that people are cleaner, you just have a bigger space, so the smell dissipates more. If it's a confined space, you probably smell somebody's
And I'll tell you
armpits.
right now, nerds not washing with the pandemic would have probably bred a superbug, and we'd have got the T-virus. I'm saying it.
Maybe. You're not wrong. So yeah, definitely con flu is a thing. Also wanted to bring up, D. Steezel talks about seeing these Comic-Con panels now from the comfort of your home. They're basically essentially just Skype or Zoom interviews. It's weird, right? Because there's a certain electricity you have to being in a place with somebody when they're talking.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily get that when they're just talking through a computer or whatever.
That's one of the things I wanted to bring up because we had the Microsoft showcase and we had San Diego Comic-Con at home. One of the things I liked about this is that Comic-Con for a lot of people, and it's been like that for me for a long time, probably for a long time from now on. Money wise, if you're fortunate enough or blessed enough to get a ticket, if you can afford to go, it is not a cheap experience.
Food is expensive in San Diego.
It can be
compared to Columbia, South Carolina, so
it can be a limiting experience for people who cannot go. I do like the idea that this year that they tried to reach out and try to make it more egalitarian. It's the fact that anybody who's wants to go. So I like the idea of having the panels.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did not like, and maybe that'll change with maybe some events tonight and Saturday and Sunday, the releases or the announcements of certain things. I understand that the pandemic says, hey, we can't do this or we can't show this. But I really would have liked to have seen more comic things because it is a comic book convention. One of the things that I loved when I went was you got to see what was coming up from Marvel, what was coming up from DC. They had these panels of writers and you got to see new books coming out. And I think part of that was the pandemic kind of slowed down production, so they're trying to catch up to what they already had in the can. But I really thought that this would have been something like, hey, Marvel announces this is our new big event, or here's where we're going with Empire.
Yeah.
Or DC saying, hey, we got the 3 Jokers coming out. That is something I wanted to see. And again, I hadn't seen it yet, so it's not saying that they won't do it. That's something I wanted to see.
Because we are only in day 2 of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So we still have the Saturday shows and the Sunday shows. So I wonder if they're going to be, and I haven't been keeping up with this, because another thing, there were no major panels or anything that I was really excited to tune into this year. So that's kind of why I haven't paid attention to much of anything. So I'm curious, and you guys in the chat, guys, girls, let us know in the chat if there are any panels that you are excited about for Comic-Con at home, or if they have touched on any of those topics that Leroy's talking about.
Sanford Green, one of the creators from Bitterroot.
Friend of the show, Sanford Green.
We can actually
we can say that.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
He had a panel about like how to stay in comics and how to break in the comics, because I know that's a very big. A lot of people feel like it's not a very inclusive environment to get in. You have to know someone. It's not like where like a job at UPS you can go down and apply. You have to like know someone and then someone has to vouch for you.
Yeah.
It's almost like the mob, where it's like you have to be sponsored to get in. And he's doing a panel. Zaylan Maru says some people said Marvel pulled out because DC pulled out. And that was one of the things, going to Zaylan Maru's part, I did not like that because we have to social distance, I feel like if Microsoft could figure it out, Sony could figure it out, Marvel, Boom, Dark Horse, a lot of them could figure out so that they can bring stuff. I really would have liked to seen. I understand you don't want to release these movies on digital, but I would have liked to have seen maybe a scene from Black Widow, or maybe like something like give me something to tide over. I only say Black Widow because I was in Target and
No. That's not. I was saying one movie did release a scene.
Anyway,
You don't want to say what movie it was?
go ahead.
New Mutants released a scene. Your favorite movie.
I have said before, they probably won't because they got some kind of agreement with Fox that had the agreement with HBO that if they release it on digital, it has to come out on HBO first and streaming all this other crap. Just pay whatever money you need to pay and release that thing. Pay whatever you need to pay. I've always said that. Stop trying to get your money back from that movie for theatrical release. It ain't gonna happen.
I tell you what, though, they have built up excitement for me. I am more curious now to see the movie just to see what this is. And I was kind of before I was like, oh, this is interesting, blah blah blah. But all the controversy and stuff surrounding it, I was like, yeah.
It's New Mutants has now become its own meme, its own little whatever you want to call it.
It's Yo.
So I wanted to see that. See more stuff like that. I know we're not going to see a lot of stuff from like Wonder Woman, but I would have liked to see maybe a new Top Gun trailer, maybe a Dune trailer. I know that those movies are a little way out. I would like to see something like maybe a markup for Kong versus Godzilla. Something. I would have liked to seen a little bit more. And I guess I was a little disappointed because if a video game company could figure it out. Now, granted, they have a vested interest to have their stuff still coming out. I would have liked to have seen something from some of these bigger companies and saying, hey, Christopher Nolan, talk about with an interview about why it's so important for Tenet to come out in the theater, why it's so important for this, why you came back for this movie, Patty Jenkins.
Well, I think it's a thing of we're all dealing with something that nobody's ever felt before, right? In terms of dealing with this pandemic. So we don't know what the plans were before this was going down. Maybe we were going to get those kind of panels before, but then everything got pushed back. So now they don't know how to pivot.
And I guess that's my biggest problem with a lot of these companies is that they don't know how to pivot. Because I guess I'm one of those people who was like, because of the business we're in, you knew you weren't having San Diego Comic-Con. Like you weren't having it in person. So where were your backup plans for these things? And I guess that's the problem that I have because I feel like...
Well, everybody played chicken, right? Everybody was... Even on a local level, we know here, we don't need to name names about people, but we know people who were going to...
We know who you are!
We know people who were going to hold comic conventions, and they were trying to wait to the last minute to figure out before they canceled. And we talked about, we don't know for sure, but a good reason for that is because you don't want to pay for all these deposits and stuff and all this insurance and whatnot. So you want the governments to cancel all that stuff so that you can get your money back and all that stuff.
True, and the force majeure, clause where it's an act of God. I understand that. I guess the problem that I have with it is a lot of these companies, they could have done something more. I would have liked to have seen, considering Westworld, that season is over. HBO, throw a Westworld Zoom, talking about this past season, like what it was like, and I guess that's some of the things I would have liked to have seen because we have seen other companies take the lead, and again I could bring it back to Microsoft and Sony that they were able to pull stuff off. I felt like they could have done that because they
did do that though.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? You wanted like Marvel to do what Microsoft did or what Sony did?
Kind of like that. Like I don't want to say like I feel like we're going to support you with whatever product that you come out with. So this is your opportunity to, I don't want to say show a little bit of goodwill, but engineer some goodwill as saying, hey, we know this is a difficult time. We're putting this on to tide you over until this comes out. Because they did it with Hamilton. Disney did it with Hamilton. Hamilton wasn't supposed to come out now.
Yeah, but It was done.
I understand that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you could have put something together with other things. And we've seen other companies get together and do things through Zoom, through, taping stuff. And I understand it takes a while. I feel like if these people are in the creative aspect, they could have been creative to come up with something.
Okay.
And that's how I feel about it. But
Right.
I did like...
Tamara, what are the sessions you're looking to in
Yeah, she
the
said
Comic-Con
there's
schedule?
4, right?
Yeah, she said 4. I'm just curious what they are.
IMAX
We'll let her
says-
answer that. What?
IMAX says that's how he's been watching Star Trek cons for the last 3 years, just basically through Zoom and through.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there have been other people doing this for years, so it's not as if this is brand new. A lot of people who can't go to some of these conventions that are in New York, there's a lot of those panels that come out that are online. And I'll be honest with you, I understand the idea of having a panel or a convention where you have to be there, but this right here maybe should make you think long term to say maybe there is something to this to broadcast and stream some of these events, and maybe there is like a pass that says, hey, we're going to stream these panels when we actually do get to come back.
Right.
For those people who can't go to these conventions, and say, hey, here's a way to stream or see this panel. That would be interesting to see going forward.
Okay. So we talking about Microsoft now?
Yeah. What you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. What you want to say about Microsoft? Microsoft held their event Thursday. Yeah, Thursday yesterday. It was about an hour long. I say most of it, but the largest portion was devoted to Halo Infinite. We got a nice little gameplay demo of that. They showed some other first-party exclusives. They showed some console launch exclusives. They showed videos from 9 of their 15 first-party studios. I'm
going back up because I don't want to get the name wrong.
Zayla Maru says Sony started all this by skipping E3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. Ray Sean K said, I'm so glad that I have Game Pass. And it made me think last night a little bit more about what you said, where everybody, they're all gunning for different things. The more I watch that whole thing and I watch the trailers and stuff, this was just a giant Game Pass commercial.
Yeah.
And
Y'all, one day, I'm lazy, so I don't know when this video is going to go up, but you guys are going to see the video of our first initial reactions from this press conference. I said that, but go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, it felt like, I guess and it goes back to that thing that we were talking about before. I don't feel like they were trying to sell me games. I don't feel like they were trying to even sell me the system. It felt like the more I looked at it, the more I was like, this is just Game Pass. Like, and that to me said, oh.
Yeah.
And that's what, and it really kind of like dawned on me that I was like, I don't want an Xbox.
Yeah, all you need is Game Pass.
But what I'm saying is, I don't want the system. It turned me off.
Okay.
Because if I'm going to buy a next gen system, I want next gen games. And nothing they have shown me is next gen. They're trying to sell me a box for their service. They're trying to sell me a TiVo.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it.
I mean, I understand that. I get that. I'm cool with that.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't need, this video will go up. I mark my words, the video will go up, maybe. We talked about it in our reaction to the Xbox Game Studio. I forgot what it was called. Xbox Game Showcase, can't remember. Sony is giving you these, man, we got AAA heavy hitter games. These are some quality games you want, and you need to have our system. Xbox is like, you know what? Some of these might be pretty good. I mean, I'm not. That sounded really horrible.
It did.
Yeah, no, not that some of them might be good.
5 out of 6.
Right. It's like, not every game we're putting out is a AAA quality game necessarily in terms of production and all that. They're going to be games that get you through, but you have so much to choose from. You'll probably find something that you like. If you went to Xbox's website after the thing went out, their PR people and the communications team for Xbox they had a couple different blurbs, and they talked about a wide, diverse collection of games. They really want you to know.
They did that.
They really want you to know we have diversity, because they want you to know we have a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. It may not be the best game in the world, but it's something you might want to dabble into. And if you're paying $9.99 a month for Game Pass Unlimited, I'll download this game. I'll play this for a little bit. It's cool. I like this idea of the Netflix of gaming.
I guess
because it's working for Netflix so far.
And this is where I have a problem. And this is where Microsoft isn't understanding what Netflix is going through right now. Mm-hmm. You may like the Netflix of gaming, but that's because Netflix has great content. Netflix. So let's look at what Netflix has. When you think about let's compare what Netflix has to what Microsoft has. Mm-hmm. Netflix, when it originally came out, was licensing other people's content, right? Mm-hmm. So Netflix in the past had things like Friends, The Office. They had the Marvel
two shows I don't watch. Keep going.
Hold on. Uh-huh. So what?
2 shows I don't watch. Keep going.
But hold on. Those are marquee shows,
mm-hmm.
right? So then they started dabbling in their own creative licenses. Remember, they also had all of the Marvel content, all the Disney content, mm-hmm. till Disney started doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. Now they have their own generated content. They're making their own movies. Extraction, To All the Boys I Love, Always Be My Maybe. We just talked about Old Guard, Last Days of American Crime, Triple Frontier. Mm-hmm. They're doing their own shows. Mm-hmm. House of Cards, Stranger Things, Warrior Nun. That some of those shows are now in direct competition with the other streaming services. Mm-hmm. Microsoft does not have their own original content that's going to make people say,
"That's for you."
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
If Microsoft comes out with a Game Pass, that's great because no one else has it. Mm-hmm. But just like with Netflix, nobody else has it. So everybody else is going to start realizing we need to do this.
But when you say everybody else, who's everybody else? Sony?
I'm saying Sony's going to do it. Epic is already doing it. And we've now seen these people buy into Steam, buying into Epic, mm-hmm. because they realize that is the future.
But Steam isn't Steam doesn't give you free games.
True.
Or like a collection, because you're still...
You're paying
you pay for the game. Right.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if xCloud, and that is the future, the next step in gaming, Microsoft eventually is going to have to step up and say, you can only get this here. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm having a problem with spending $500-$600 for a system for a couple of, bite-sized games. And I'm like, that's okay.
But you don't have to. See, you keep thinking that, or in my opinion, I feel like you keep thinking that Microsoft wants you. You said it. Microsoft don't care if you get that box. They really don't. Because you already got an Xbox X or an Xbox One or whatever.
Yeah.
If you have that, you're good for the next 2 or 3 years.
True.
Also, the streaming service is going to let you play on mobile devices like tablets and stuff. They are really saying, for the best experience you can play on Xbox Series X, mm-hmm. I don't feel like they care.
See,
I feel like they just want you in the house. They just want to be in your house.
This is where I think they do care, because eventually you're going to have to upgrade that box. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to upgrade that box because for where they're going next. And that's why I said, for me, when I see next generation, nothing out of that lineup showed me was next generation.
Now, we can agree with that, because Halo looked garbage. Oh. I'll say it. Now, Halo is probably going to play. Boom! That's what Halo, I have no doubt, or I feel very strongly that Halo's going to play well, uh-huh. and it's going to be great, because I enjoyed Halo 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I enjoyed ODST, Reach, mm-hmm. all that stuff. Like I said, I didn't play 4 and 5, and those were kind of the lesser games based on what the Halo community says. I think this Halo is getting back to basics again. Mm-hmm.
Now because they want to get old gamers and new gamers,
right?
Because I watched that, and they did want to have at least something that says, hey, for those of you who played these and have been a fan or a customer of these games, we have something for you. Yeah. But if you've never picked up a Halo game, here's an easy introduction into this series.
Right, because it's going back, like the color scheme looks kind of like how Halo 1 did, mm-hmm. And that was by design. I don't know if you've seen all the memes. People are like, Halo don't look good. Have you seen that stuff yet? But the thing is, no, we can bring it up. I think that's interesting because the Halo diehards, they don't care.
They don't.
Which is interesting.
They don't.
A lot of times people are always like, I need the next greatest,
Yeah.
next gen things. They don't care. They just want Halo to feel back to how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in that regard, they succeeded. It doesn't look, and it's not necessarily that it doesn't look next gen. I mean, it is. But somebody said this thing where it looks flat. And I was like, that's a perfect word. Nothing really pops out
Mm-hmm.
because the colors are very muted with the exception of like your projectile fire from your guns and your explosions and stuff and things like that for the neon. But for the most part, it looks very flat and muted, which is what Halo 1 was. So they're just going back to that.
That color scheme, that palette.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I said I want to read some of these comments because Brian Gamer says that they don't have games argument is so old and wrong. Ray Sean K brings up you will not get God of War or Spider-Man on a subscription. John J brings up that I need at least 3 to 5 exclusives before I'm interested before I make a purchase. D. Steezel says Leroy's not interested in a new Xbox. I'm shocked. That was sarcasm. I get it. Brian Gamer, I 100% disagree that they want you to get the box, but they're saying we are not going to exclude those who can't afford to upgrade. Brian Gamer, that I could agree with. That I agree with, and that really breaks it down. They are trying to make tiers.
Yeah.
For everybody,
which is so weird. As a side note, we keep hearing these rumors of a lower priced next gen Xbox
scaled down.
Yeah, like I think it's the codename Lockhart or the Anaconda. No, I think the Anaconda was what Series X is. The Lockhart is supposed to be this cheaper version. We haven't seen it yet, and maybe a lot of people thought we were going to see it at this showcase. Maybe they won't show the cheaper version until they show prices.
Yeah.
Or,
obviously, that's probably what's going to happen. And I get that. And I guess that's where I'm different, whereas in the sense of I understand the whole gaming service and there's a lot of games for other people. And I guess maybe that's just for me because I'm so used to buying a system for a game. And maybe that is an outdated way of thinking about this. Maybe Microsoft is trying something new. I guess when I watched the showcase, I really expected, because this is the next generation, you're setting the tone for your system. I really expected to see them coming out the gate with something big and something.
Yeah.
And I did not see any of that to my satisfaction.
I can agree with you that nothing was like, oh, this is why I need the next gen.
Yes.
I'll agree with that. Because when PlayStation 5 showed their thing, I was like, man, Horizon Zero Dawn looks really cool. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I don't know if it looks so much better than PS5, but I know it'll run fast, or than PS4. But it's Miles Morales, so I'll play it. I'm trying to think what the other big things. The Ratchet and Clank, and we talked about it again in a video that I will put up. Even if you may not have noticed a lot of textual improvements and stuff in Ratchet and Clank, you can't deny the loading times in that game were phenomenal, from being in one world to a completely different place with 0 to the few seconds of loading. So they showed a couple of games in the PlayStation thing about this is why next gen is important. Microsoft didn't really show that yet, and a lot of the things they showcased were all like, if you think about it, they only showed gameplay for first party studios for one game. I guess they showed gameplay for Psychonauts too, but for the most part it was just Halo, and everything else was a bunch of videos. One game that could be like really next gen is probably Hellblade 2, but
Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, but we didn't see any gameplay. All we did, they talked about we scouted in Norway, or was it Norway? Iceland?
Yeah, one of those Nordic countries.
It's a Nordic country, which sounds cool, but I would have liked to have seen gameplay of Hellblade 2.
I guess Ryan Porter brings up explain what is next gen to you. Next gen to me is something, and it's not that it's not hard to break down, but so we have 2 games that just came out at the end of the life cycle of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima. Excuse me. I have no doubt those games will be ported over or improved so that they can play on the next generation. But when I think of next gen, I think of, which I'm starting to agree with you, Cyberpunk. That's the game that's next gen. That you cannot get that to run on the box we have now for everything they want to do for that game. I want to see a game that makes, and I'm not saying it needs to be so technically so that like it's not fun anymore, where you have to, you need to be reading a booklet. But I want to play something that challenges my perception of what gaming is and immerses me in the game that I cannot do on my current system. That makes me say that I need to pay that amount of money for it.
Zayla Maru brought up this. For me, no VR capability equals no sale. A lot of people are saying VR is the next step. And the one of the biggest things holding VR back is having all the cables everywhere because you can't really feel immersed like you want. And figuring out a way to put all the portability into a VR system while keeping it powerful. I just picked up the Oculus. What's Oculus Quest? I just picked one of those up. Yeah. I haven't opened it yet. You know me, I just buy stuff because I'm dumb. But I bought one. I'm excited to kind of mess around with it. But that's kind of what people are saying. Okay, this is where VR needs to go. No wires, all that stuff. Pretty powerful system. Sony is investing money into VR. We know there's probably going to be a PSVR 2 eventually with PS5. Xbox has kind of said, we'll see where it goes.
As Microsoft has said, that's not where we're going right now.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because that's two different avenues these game manufacturers and console makers are going. Whereas Sony is saying we're going to produce a powerful system that allows you to play these powerful games. And while Microsoft is saying we're going to make a powerful system, but it's not necessarily just about the system. It's about this service that we're offering you so that you always have something new to play.
So, of the things that you saw from the showcase, and you guys in the chat, somebody's bringing up Medium. Brian Gamer says Medium, and Brian Gamer, are you asking? Are you saying is that the game that you're excited about? Or you're not excited about? Just clarify in the chat. Let me know. But everybody else, kind of let us know was there any game that got you excited for Xbox, Xbox Series X? For me, and actually, hold on. Do you know what game I'm most excited for that was there? If you were to guess. Okay, I'm just curious. It was Tetris.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Tetris Effect. I tried to get you to. I mean,
I played it.
Yeah, you remember how hype I was, and you were like, yeah, whatever. I still love playing Tetris Effect in VR on PSVR. I think it's great. Even if I don't play it in VR, it's a way to just kind of zone out, moving shapes together, trying to get the perfect Tetris or whatever. And this idea of playing Tetris with other people connected, I think that's what next gen is going to be, is connecting people, connecting you with those experiences. And I don't know if graphics are going to be so much better that you're like, oh man, I'm really here. I can actually see things. I think it's more about the hardware pushing or breaking limitations down so that you can have these connected experiences with people.
You know who you sound right now?
Who?
Who you sound like?
Who?
Hideo Kojima.
Oh, don't say that. No.
That is exactly what he wanted with Death Stranding.
Did he succeed to you? Because did you finish it? You finished it, right? I put in 8 hours. I was done.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You should finish it because
no.
Let me tell you why. For what you just said, you just sold yourself on Death Stranding.
I don't think I did.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because and this is what I'm telling you. You basically just gave me what I wanted. That's what next gen is. Next gen is pushing our medium forward to a point we have not been before. And nothing Microsoft showed me is where we haven't been before. Death Stranding, when I played it, was it at first, it is frustrating. It pissed me the F off quite a few times. Where if it had been older, if I had been younger and I didn't have the self-control, I'd have broken control. Oh, I'd have broken controller. Because there are some things that really piss you off about it. However, the idea of connecting you with other people as you go to build stuff, the way I will probably never play Death Stranding again.
Me either.
I have bought. Nope. You're not social distance.
That's true. Good point. Sorry.
I bought the soundtrack for it.
Oh, I think the music is great.
I'm gonna buy both. So there's a vinyl soundtrack of just the score, and there's a vinyl soundtrack of actually the songs on it. I'm going to buy both of them. It immerses you in a world and it's so funny because we're now living in this COVID time. This idea of porters taking packages, Amazon Prime, and connecting people is the exact thing that I was trying to explain to people to say,
Always working, y'all. Go ahead.
she can't ever do nothing for herself.
Hey, Alicia, what's up?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, can you email it to me? Because I'm away from my computer, but if you email it to me, I'll read it.
So that's what.
Yep, right.
So when I say next gen, that's what I mean by next gen. I want to be able to say, this experience that I'm playing right now, I could not have on another system.
I'm going through the chat. I'm seeing my friend Cheryl is in the chat talking about Nintendo NES.
Yeah.
Y'all, don't come for Cheryl. She's great people.
Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she might be behind on the generations of what she's talking about, but she's good people. So
But,
it is what it is. But
no,
yeah.
And that when you brought that up, you were like, "That's the future." That's exactly what Death Stranding was, and is.
Somebody wrote KNSD. Everyone's crapping on Halo Infinite, but I think it looks great. KNSD, I want to get more from you. Just let me know, are you a big Halo fan, or have you played Halo in the past, or was it this one was it seeing this game made you want to become a Halo fan? Just give me some more history on your background, because I'm seeing a lot of that. You always have the vocal minority that's very loud, right? Mm-hmm. You always see the memes of the memes that a lot of the memes I'm seeing are people kind of crapping on the Halo graphics, and it looks clear. I think it's a question of art direction more than anything, right? Mm-hmm. For me, I think it's a question of art direction. The art direction that they chose for Halo kind of feels flat and bland to me just because of the muted colors. Maybe if they had gone with a crazier color scheme or more outlandish graphics, more people would be on board. But then would you lose the old school Halo fans who are like, no, I want my old school Master Chief?
But you got to remember, it's not. We've only been seeing a snippet of what this game is.
Your wife is the best.
I'm not paying her no attention. We're only seeing a snippet of what this game is. We don't know. We know the map is expansive. We know there's going to be new experiences. Just the fact that Master Chief has a grappling hook is brand new and introducing into the series. I guess what I'm saying is that when people buy 4K TVs, they upgrade their rigs and their things like this. They want to see that investment in their console.
Sure.
D. Steezel says, I've been a Halo fan since the beginning. I'm 50-50 on that gameplay footage. And that's a fan.
Yeah, I get you.
And I'm not a fan. I like the lore of Halo.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I think some of the cinematics from some of the older games, I don't want to say older games, from Halo Wars 2 or Guardians and Halo 4 looked amazing. Rayshawn K brings up, it reminds him of Halo 1, and Michael has been saying,
I think that's what they're going for.
That's by design.
Yeah, I think they're going for that.
They're starting over.
Okay, Halo Reach for KNSD. I am in the camp of, I'm excited for Halo, and I won't take credit for this because I consume a bunch of other people on YouTube and whatnot, but the Kind of Funny guys, in particular, I think Tim Getty said this, when he was watching, or it might have been Andy Cortez, I don't know, but when they were watching the Xbox Game Showcase and the Warthog did that jump off of the, whatever it was, the peak, and maybe like a grunt shot or something, they were like, that was it for them. And I kind of felt that same way, because it reminds you of playing the first Halo. It reminds you of taking that Warthog and jumping off stuff, fighting the Flood, fighting the Covenant, whatever, trying to make it through the library, all that kind of stuff. And there's something about it that's just like, oh yeah, I remember this. There's a kind of a, I don't want to say floatiness, but kind of the center of gravity for the Chief that doesn't feel necessarily super fast, that is exciting because you're like, I remember how this feels. So it doesn't have all the next gen bells and whistles that you want for me, but I'm excited for Halo.
Okay.
And side note, sorry. They're saying that this might be the last Halo for a while.
Oh, it is. It is the last
because they're
Halo.
going to add on to this, which is interesting.
Now they said it's not a Destiny. But they said this is the last. They're putting, which is why, because they said, I was watching. It's called Halo Infinite. They're not gonna have. It's not gonna be a Halo Infinite 2, 3, 4. But I guess that's the one thing that I'm curious about, because it's not a game as a service. It's not. I'm not going to tell you it was. It's going to be like there's not going to be any microtransactions. But I want to see somebody invest in a game and say, this is a game, this is a universe you're going to be able to play in, and it's going to be so immersive you're not going to need a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to continue to play this.
Yeah.
I would like to see that for a Mass Effect game. Like I would love for a Mass Effect game to be, this is the world, we've created the sandbox, and now we're going to be putting stuff in the sandbox, taking it out. The world evolves, it changes depending on when you play it.
Yeah.
Kind of like with people who play EVE Online. Where are we getting that type of experience? And I guess maybe that's what I mean by next gen. And I'm not saying, IMAX brings up next gen as a rush, 360 was around for 10 years. I'm not saying next gen as far as it has to be upgraded graphics. I still play on my PS3. I still play. What?
Reggie. He said, "Hey, if you're on my side, would you answer your phone?"
I still play some of the original Call of Duties, Modern Warfare. Those are some of my favorite games as far as like just gameplay. I love the campaigns. I want a good game.
I went to Midwood earlier.
But I want to be able to say, for me to spend $600, I need something that's $600 worth, so that when my wife is sitting next to me watching, she's like, "Oh, this was worth it. This storyline is different. I've never seen this before."
All right, cool.
My wife still talks about watching people play Mass Effect. She remembers watching people play Last of Us to the point where she's like, that was an experience. And I think that's what I'm looking for in some of these games. Get to some of your comments. Agreed, Rayshawn K. As long as the game is good, I'm not too worried about graphics. I think next gen should be like the first time I saw NFL 2K on Dreamcast. At the time, it was miles ahead of anything else, and that made me buy a Dreamcast. Go ahead.
Well, I'm supposed to be doing work. I will get to this. If Alicia, if you're watching this, which you're probably not because you're actually doing your work, I will read your script and proofread and all that stuff. But
ain't reading it.
I'm trying to, but people are asking good comments, so I got to comment on that.
That's because they're good people.
They are good people. Who made that comment? Who made the comment about the Dreamcast? You said, was it Rayshawn?
Hold on. Joe Ellis.
Joe Ellis. I agree with that, but I think we're getting to a point now where as we get further and further in these generations of next generation stuff, it's less and less about graphics because you're getting to a point where you can only jump so much, right? It was cool to see, like, man, this is wow. NFL 2K looks ridiculous. You look at it now, you're like, it's whatever. But seeing it going from was that PlayStation to Dreamcast, that was ridiculous. That was incredible. I don't think we're going to get those jumps anymore. So I think it's about the subtle things that you don't necessarily notice. Do people move more realistically? Do they behave more realistically? That kind of
I think you're still going to see those jumps.
Really?
I think when you finally see Cyberpunk, and when you finally see Horizon Zero Dawn 2, I think when you get some of these games that are coming out, whatever Square Enix comes out with, I think you're going to get some of those. I think if they ever finish Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think if they ever get around to that.
I enjoyed the first Beyond Good and Evil because I think I got it for free as part of Xbox Games Gold for 360. Ubisoft did something that I won't say they do all the time, but they are known to do this. They showed that game too early.
Oh yeah.
They shouldn't have showed anything about Beyond Good and Evil 2 because I feel like they went back to the drawing board at one point to refigure out what the game is. So they shouldn't have shown Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I think you're still going to get that. I mean, because if you think about it, we got that just recently with The Witcher 3, when people were like, "This is amazing," and that wasn't that long ago. God of War, the seamlessness that God of War had between going from cinematic to actual gameplay. I think that's what you're going to see where think about the fact of you're going to be able to go from a cutscene to actually playing the game, kind of like a Uncharted, to where it's seamless. And I think that's going to be a generational gap. That's going to be next gen, to where there's not going to be a difference between what is gameplay and what is a cutscene, to where you're actually immersed in the game as if you're actually part of what's going on. I think we as gamers, as some people, get wrapped up in graphics or frame rates and things like that. I think that's important, but I'm not necessarily so important. So I'm not so stuck on that as I am is how is this experience going to be? Am I going to remember that? And to you guys, think about the game, because don't get me wrong, there are games on this generation that stood out. But what was that game, that first game that blew your mind, that made you, that transported you from the world you're in right now to someplace that you had never been? That literally separated you to where you did not understand or did not realize the world you were in was gone and you're now transported someplace else.
A lot of people are saying, let's see where we're at, blah, 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 blah. They're saying they're not really worried about the graphics so much as just the gameplay.
Yeah.
Which I agree with that for sure. And then I can't remember, somebody brought it up earlier. They enjoyed how Forza looked. Forza does look great, but I don't feel like that game's coming out for 2 or 3 years.
I think Forza's come out next 6-7 months.
Oh no. 6 or 7 months?
I think
You're crazy.
Forza will be out in 2021 by March. Call it.
Let's make a bet on that. You want to make a bet on that? For like a food bet?
All right.
Yes. No way in the world. So you're going to tell me the game is going to come out in March, but they didn't show like anything except for like a 10-second video?
I'm telling you, Forza's going to be out before the summer of next year. I don't think that. I think they cannot. They're not going to wait too long between some of these games. And
No.
Forza, I think, is one of the ones that they're going to come out with because they know it's going to sell. It's a solid game for them. It's like when you release something, you're like, we go make our money on this.
But my thing is, I don't think it's a thing of them not wanting to release it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's ready. Just based on another thing that I noticed from this conference. Again, we saw that one gameplay from Halo. Everything was the kind of videos.
Yeah.
Because they're so far in pre-production and like alpha production, I don't think these games are ready. That's why. What's up?
Brian Gamer says Forza is always a release title, and that's why I say I think Forza is sooner than later.
I'll tell you why Forza is not a release title this year, because they're doing Dirt. I don't know if when they did that thing in May, they had a big push for Dirt, and everybody was like, why are they talking about Dirt? Dirt's a fine game, but Xbox always had Forza. The reason why they pushed Dirt so much is because they don't have a racing game this year. That's what I think.
It's a possibility. The reason why I'm with Brian Gamer on this, I think that Forza is going to be coming out soon because Forza's always been a release title.
Yeah.
And Forza, for those people who are diehard Microsoft fans and racing fans, the people I know who are diehard Xbox fans, most of them are Forza fans.
Okay.
And when they release that console, there's always a Forza somewhere down the line.
And
that's why I'm like, they're not wasting time on that one.
And I will say I don't think Forza comes out until. So you say March?
I'm saying it. I will say
No, the bet was on March.
March, but I'm telling.
I want my Chick-fil-A April 1st.
April Fool's.
Yeah, yeah. That's.
Forza will be out before the summer. I see it. I see Forza come out before the summer.
I don't think they're done with it. I don't think it's. I think COVID has slowed stuff down a lot. I think Forza. The earliest we see of Forza is fall of 2021.
Ooh, wow.
And I don't think it's even going to hit that.
See, and I guess I look at it differently because I'm like, we're going to get a Call of Duty game this year, and we haven't seen 1 inch of that.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's how I'm looking
Okay,
at it.
I can do that.
That's what I said. We know we're getting another Call of Duty, whether it's Black Ops or whatever it is. I think that we hadn't seen a lick of that, and I think that's because there's always a Call of Duty every year.
So Brian Gamer, you will keep us honest on this bet. We will see when Forza comes out.
All right.
We will figure out when that's going to
Earmark
happen.
this video, y'all.
Yeah, remember this bet.
All right. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at somebody brought up they want to see a great Deus Ex game next gen. Ray Sean K brings up Mass Effect was that game that transported him. The one that gets me every single time is, and I know it's cliche for some people, but for me, there were 3 games that really like. What am I playing? System Shock, Metal Gear Solid, and Dead Space, where I was just like, this is no longer. And for me, I'm not a real big Doom guy, but Doom 3 on my computer, I know a lot of people are like, they wanted the whole splashy. Doom 3, the way it played and how it really went in that survival horror, that's what I'm looking for. That immersion, that idea that I'm playing something that I would not be playing on another system. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. People are getting, man, I want to get in these comments, but I got to go back to work.
Yeah.
So any last things you want to?
I'd rather have a Mass Effect remaster instead of a new game because BioWare sucks nowadays. Can't disagree with that statement. BioWare has said that they are working on, was it Dragon Age?
They're working on a new Dragon Age for sure.
New Dragon Age.
And there's a pre-production somewhere on a Mass Effect game for sure.
Yeah, I mean they.
Yeah.
I mean they owe us.
They owe us.
They do.
Damon Estrada, hey, question. What's y'all's thought on Microsoft trying to buy Batman and Mortal Kombat games as exclusives for Xbox?
I'm not mad at them.
I think it's cool. I think logistically, if they were to buy WB Interactive, I think that would be great. But then I don't think they would be able to get... Although if they paid enough money, I guess they could try and make Batman exclusive.
They have the money.
Yeah. I think what would happen is once Microsoft bought WB Interactive, they wouldn't call it that anymore because it wouldn't be Warner Brothers. And so they wouldn't have access to the DC stuff or Injustice, or they wouldn't just have carte blanche access to the DC stuff or Injustice or Batman because that'd all be WB stuff. So they could probably license the property, and then maybe Microsoft would have a Batman game just like Sony does have Spider-Man. I don't know.
Damon Estrada asked, how long do you think we'll get into another GTA? Long.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is still in the top 20 best-selling games.
Rockstar is literally... what movie was it where the dude was burning money to using a $100 bill to light a cigar?
Yeah.
That's Rockstar.
I mean...
Rockstar said, we're so good, we're not even going to make another Grand Theft... We're just going to re-release another Grand Theft Auto on PS5.
Yeah, I know there's talks that they're at least thinking about what Grand Theft Auto 6 is. I remember the Hauser brothers saying they don't know how they would tackle Grand Theft Auto 6
and they're gonna be in high school for another Grand Theft Auto come out.
Maybe. But they were saying they don't know what the story's going to be because the world is so satirical and farcical now. They don't know how to parry.
Yeah, they don't have to make fun of it.
So they're trying to figure that out. But also, like I said, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still making money.
Still making
every day. Interestingly enough, Red Dead Redemption 2 online is not doing as well. It makes money, but not like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Because it's Red Dead Redemption. It's not Grand Theft Auto.
True, but I mean, they're not supporting it the same way.
Yeah.
And people are, I don't know, they're upset about it for sure. But I think it's going to be a minute before we get GTA 6.
Yeah, that's what I mean. GTA 6, man, New Mutants will come out and be on DVD, Blu-ray, and streaming before you even get a steal for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Rockstar is Scrooge McDuck money swimming right now.
Yeah.
Because they are making money hand over fist on that game.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they're making so much money on that game. PlayStation's starting video was Grand Theft Auto 5.
KNSD says my grandkids will buy GTA 5 on their PS5.
See what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
Rockstar ain't losing any money.
Yeah.
I would like to see a lot of these games you guys bring up. Stargate 1, Stargate SG-1 based on Ghost Recon Wildlands with some breakpoint upgrades. I would really like to see us take some of these games in some places we hadn't been. It would be nice to see somebody branch out. Maybe bringing back something different, how like they did Resistance Fall of Man and merged two different genres, the World War II genre with aliens. I would like to see something like that going forward. You know, it's video games. Like, go wild, go nuts. Like, I'm not buying that Scorn game or, you know, Sinuous, Hellblade, whatever, you know, demonic thing, but I'm more power to them for making that. More power to them from going out there. And
all right, Chad, y'all going wild now. They're just saying what's going to happen before GTA 6 comes out. On that, we can wrap up because I got to go finish this show.
He said I think we'll get a George Lucas episode 7 9 cut before we get Grand Theft Auto 6.
I'm signing these people off. over here.
Hey man, we got the Snyder Cut before we got a Grand Theft Auto 6. All right, people. We want to say thank you for streaming this with us and coming online. We got the new desk. We're gonna be doing some other stuff. We got to get back to work, but stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't let this stuff get you down. Find your joy. We really appreciate it. I'm getting back into answer some of the comments on the videos that we got up. So really appreciate you guys going back through. Anything else I missed?
Saying bye to people.
IMAX, Rayshawn K, D. Steezel, Brian Gamer, KNSD, Damian Estrada, Joe Ellis,
Ty Williams.
Your homegirl Cheryl, Tamara Pickens, Zaylin Monroe. Let's see who else is in here.
Brian Gamer.
Brian Gamer. I thought I said that one.
You may have. Rayshawn K.
John G. I believe D. Steezel's in here somewhere. Ryan Porter. IMAX.
Antoine Allen.
Storm Shadow. Antoine Ellis.
Allen.
My bad.
Your wife?
I ain't talking to her.
Oh, no,
Storm
Katie,
Shadow.
I'll give you a shout out.
Supposed to be watching that baby. Ain't got time for this. Ever Sanchez Productions. And Evan, because he's probably with her watching this. Really appreciate you guys. Like I said, be safe, guys. Don't let this stuff get you down. All this nonsense is going on in the news. Don't watch it, even though we put it on. I tell people all the time, just don't watch it. This stuff is depressing. So we'll see you next week, and we're out.